Government responding to a call of a person holding on a camera and not a villain lurking. Still they just took him down, didn't even give him time, even after being told photography is not a crime. You don't need subliminal, excessive force ain't optional. This is not a cop show where everyone's a criminal. Do your job the way it is supposed to be of service. Now you think abusing on the public is your purpose. You are just a sick joke, all corrupt and hopeless. If you aren't good for us, then why we paying taxes? If you aren't gonna do it right, better step down. Everything you seem to do is nothing but a letdown. I suggest you disappear before you're making things worse. You are not a blessing but a version of a bad curse. You're about to find out what we call destruction, ending on the wrong end of BK corruption.
Here we are. It's now the July 14th, 2021, and this is our letter before claim to Craig Guilford of Nottinghamshire Police. This notice is to inform you that I intend to make a claim in the county court against the Chief Constable of Nottinghamshire Police, who I hold vicariously liable for both civil and aggravated trespass committed by his employee/S. Police Constable Chris Phillips 3625, Sergeant 2628 and 4 other police officers, the police have refused to identify, against myself. On the October 5, 17, I was a victim of an unlawful trespass of property and goods. The entire incident was filmed on my CCTV. The aggravated factors to this matter are as follows. 1. They were perving through my windows on private property and perving through my letterbox at around 8 a.m., at a time where children and adults are known to be getting dressed for the day. 2. They were also using weapons on both my doors and windows in an attempt to damage them. 3. They were knocking on all my neighbors' doors attempting to harm my business reputation because I refused a voluntary interview. 4. When everything failed, PC 3625 Chris Phillips and his Sergeant 2628 moved my wheelie bin to the window, opened the curtains and attempted to enter my property through the window. They also damaged my bin. 5. These police officers later covered up this behavior on the police database, which is a breach of the Data Protection Act 1998. 6. I later reported this behavior to the police due to the harassment from Broxtow Police Station. The police have attempted to cover this behavior up, which has been explained in the video. 7. IOPC have told the police to fully investigate this behavior, but the police have refused to deal with this. 8. Others as mentioned in the video. 9. The fact that the police have tried to get to me through a window and cover this up has left me scared for my life. I have had to get extra security in my property. For the multiple trespasses to my property and goods, I am asking for a total compensation of £3,500 including aggravated factors. I intend to submit the following evidence to the court to substantiate my claim. My link to video evidence with full explanation of my reasons. If you require any copies of the above documents or recordings, then please contact me so that I may forward them on to you. In compliance with CPR Section 2, I would be happy to consider an alternative dispute resolution that would be practical and mutually agreeable to resolve this matter. In closing, I would draw your attention to Section 2(4) of the Practice Direction, which gives the courts the power to impose sanctions on the parties if they fail to comply with the direction, including failing to respond to this letter before claim. I request a full response to this letter within 28 days, or I shall have no alternative except to begin court action with no further reference to yourself.
We received a response on the July 28, 2021 saying the following. We act on behalf of the Chief Constable of Nottinghamshire Police. We acknowledge receipt of your letter that we received on July 27, 2021.
The police received this letter before claim on the July 15, 2021 at 1:08 a.m. You can see the acknowledgement email clearly showing the confirmation.
We have been instructed to deal with this claim on behalf of the Chief Constable. We will obtain information about the matter and then advise the Chief Constable on the legal position and then respond to you. We anticipate providing a substantive response to your letter by October 28, 2021 in accordance with the Practice Direction on Pre-Action Conduct. We will always endeavor to reply sooner if at all possible. Personal data which you supply will be used for the purposes of investigating the claim made by you and may be shared with other policing bodies, regulatory authorities, government bodies, and the force's insurers for the purpose of investigation and in order to comply with statutory obligations. We are also required by the force's insurers to ask if you are a U.S. citizen, in order that they can comply with their responsibilities under legislation. Please confirm by responding to amir.yasin@derbyshire.police.uk. Please note, if you are at all unsure of your legal position, you have the right to seek independent legal advice. Yours sincerely, Amir Yasin, Trainee Solicitor.
We responded as requested. Dear Amir, please see below to your request.
We are also required by the force's insurers to ask if you are a U.S. citizen, in order that they can comply with their responsibilities under legislation. Please confirm by responding to amir.yasin@derbyshire.police.uk.
We have no legal obligation to provide you with personal information regarding Mr. Me. Your client, the police, already has all the information needed to fulfill this request. If the police are legally obliged to give you his personal information, they will. We also do not work for you, and we suggest all your questions are firstly aimed at your client. It does seem that you are asking unnecessary questions that your client already has the answers to. If you feel that you are lawfully requesting personal information that your client already has, then please provide the law that states we must provide this to you, when your client already has this information. Kind regards. BK Corruption. Strangely, Amir didn't respond to this email, but he did send us a response on the October 26, 2021 regarding this claim. This just goes to show that even these solicitors are unlawfully requesting personal information from us. This solicitor didn't need this personal information, so why ask for it? By unlawfully requesting or taking personal information can be deemed as a crime under Section 170 of the Data Protection Act 2018. We are saying Amir Yasin is guilty of this crime. So, let's see what they say. The police always deny wrongdoing, but let's have a look.
We act on behalf of the Chief Constable of Nottinghamshire Police. We acknowledge receipt of your letter that we received on July 27, 2021.
Again, the police received this letter before claim on the July 15, 2021 at 1:08 a.m.
We have now had the opportunity to conclude our investigation and set out our findings below. Background. On around September 8, 2017, Nottinghamshire Police received a report of a domestic harassment between you and your ex-partner.
Correct, they received this at 5:06 p.m.
Nottinghamshire Police were informed that you had sent threatening messages to your ex-partner that caused her distress. One of the messages sent included words such as "I'll end up killing you one day."
First lie. Nottinghamshire Police received a report of me sending a threat via text message. It's clearly shown on my personal file and also shown in the video that was sent to Amir Yasin. Only one message and not messages. Second lie, I said the following.
Go straight to this here, and she says on the 6th of September, during a conversation which I have read, alright, where there are multiple messages between the two of you, at which point I'm not passing this to harassment, okay, at this point. There's a message that she's said that scared her, and it's actually made her cry. She gives you a mobile number. She says that you've sent a message which read, "You know what, you're such a twat, I'll end up killing you if this carries on, so I hope you're happy. I'll just live my life without the little man, or my little man. I'll wait till he's 18 and give him all home truths. Don't fucking text me back." She does reply, and then you have a continued conversation. Did you send?
I never said I'll end up killing you one day. Also, this was a reaction to domestic abuse from the teacher, which PC 3625 Phillips covered up in P2, PC 3625 Phillips interview.
PC 3625 Phillips was assigned to this complaint. PC 3625 obtained statements and gathered evidence relating to the allegation of harassment and the threats made.
Third lie, only one message and it was not a threat.
Following this, PC 3625 attempted to contact you on your mobile phone. PC 3625 made various attempts to contact you, including texts and voicemails between September 25, 2017 and October 5, 2017. PC3625 also attended your home address, leaving his contact details requesting for you to call and arrange a voluntary interview.
They have admitted that he was harassing me on a summary-only allegation.
As this was a domestic violence incident and you failed to make arrangements to attend a voluntary interview, respond to PC3625, a notice was circulated. This notice alerted officers that you were wanted for an offense of harassment with fear of violence.
The police have now admitted because I didn't go for a voluntary interview on a summary allegation. They have made up allegations that I have committed a crime of harassment fear of violence. Harassment with fear of violence is an either way offense and gives them the right to enter your property, if you have actually done the crime. In this case, PC3625 didn't like me ignoring him, so he abused me by violating my file. By PC3625 Chris Phillips doing this, he has committed the crime of malicious communications. Protection from Harassment Act 1997, Section 4. Putting people in fear of violence is a very easy case to understand. You have to, at least on 2 occasions, put someone in fear of violence. As you will see from the video P2 PC3625 Phillips interview, there was one message only. This message was not a threat and it was a reaction from the teacher's domestic abuse. It also falls under my human rights, freedom of expression and speech.
On the October 5, 2021, Nottinghamshire Police were deployed to your address to carry out an arrest for the harassment with fear of violence. As you are aware, a number of officers attended, including PC3625 and PS2628 Haynes.
As you will see in P1 video, I was circulated for this after they have been down to my property. Again, no reasonable ground for fear of violence. Just a little bitter man being malicious because I ignored him. On the October 5, 2017 at 10:17, over 1 hour after leaving this property, PC3625 Phillips entered on the police database. I have sent BK Corruption a text message advising that failure to contact me by October 5, 2017 will result in him being circulated.
As you will see at the beginning of this video, these messages were sent days before. Why hasn't PC3625 Phillips updated the police database at the time? Maybe he has used my private number from the police database to contact me on his private number? The worrying thing is, he isn't logging his behavior on the police system at the time of event. This is how these corrupt officers get away with abusing the public.
He has therefore gone on to update the database again at the same time, stating, "The day shift of BPS attended BK Corruption's address at 8:15 hours today, and after multiple efforts it was NRTK, no reply to knocking, further calls to BK Corruption and his mobile was off. BK Corruption now to be circulated for harassment, fear of violence. Also, it's police policy that the Derbyshire Police should have dealt with this allegation and not Nottingham."
Whilst at the address, officers were deployed to cover various entrances and exits of your property. This is common practice when officers attend a property to carry out an arrest. This method ensures that suspects do not flee, and evidence is preserved.
Common practice is not law. This was a summary allegation and the police cannot enter private property on a summary allegation, without a warrant. Even on an indictable offense, the police cannot enter your private property and perv through your windows and letter boxes. They can't enter your property through the window. They can merely cover the entrances and go in through the door. They didn't go through the door because although they put it on the system as an indictable offense, they actually had no reasonable grounds for this allegation. If they had grounds, they would have come through the door. Instead, they wanted to perv on our children and commit aggravated trespass.
PS2628 and PC3625 remained at the front of your property as they began to knock on your door.
PS2628 and PC3625 both went around the back of my property too. PS2628 has an unauthorized weapon that he was using to smash my window with. He was also using a torch. They were all banging on my windows, perving through the letterboxes and windows.
As there was no response, PC3625 noticed that your window was open. PC3625 climbed onto the wheelie bin and opened the window further to shout to gain your attention.
Lie 8, the window was not open, it was closed but unlocked as you can see in the video. P1, PC3625 Chris Phillips and gang. Nottinghamshire Police. Lie 9, now this is a very good lie. When we made a complaint about PC3625, the police said the following.
I had no choice but to start putting in complaints against the police.
Detective Sergeant 651 Get Hazelwood responded. He denies forcing your window in October 2017 and claims it was already open. Your CCTV stills do not contradict this. He can't recall standing on your bin but accepts he may have done. He has no recollection of any damage and your stills do not evidence damage. The police are allowed to behave in this way when attempting to arrest someone, and it's not relevant as to whether or not someone is circulated. The grounds for your arrest existed. In terms of laughter and general behavior you felt was inappropriate, he cannot recall it. I find that his behavior at your home that day and in relation to any messages he sent you prior to this as being reasonable. When the police need to speak to someone under caution, they are allowed to repeatedly message them. So, PC 3625 didn't even remember standing on my bin, but all of a sudden, he can now remember standing on my bin and now he was shouting whilst attempting to climb through my window. This is the reason why you should never ever trust a police officer. They are corrupt abusers that will murder you if they have the chance.
Officers attempted to make contact with the neighbors to ascertain whether you still resided at the address and whether you were present, however no details were given. As there was no answer to the officers' knocks and calls, officers had left. You had then contacted PC 3625 and attended Broxtow Police Station on October 6, 2017, whereby you were interviewed about the matter.
They have denied the claim. What a surprise. Let's finish the letter off.
Your claim. We understand that you are claiming £3,500 for trespass and property damage. You submit that officers have caused damage to your wheelie bin, damage to your doors and windows as they were knocking. The role of this department is to consider claims for compensation made against Nottinghamshire Police. We have to consider whether any legal liability arises from a given set of circumstances. As you would expect, we do this by reference to the law, whether contained in an Act of Parliament, or as laid down by the courts. In accordance with Section 17(1)(b) of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984, PACE, officers are lawfully permitted to enter and search any premises for the purpose of arresting a person for an indictable/either way offense. In this present case, you were wanted for an offense of harassment with fear of violence. It is therefore submitted that officers' attendance at your property was lawful to carry out your arrest. The Code of Practice to PACE, in particular paragraph 6A of Section B of the Codes of Practice to the Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984, the Code, states that compensation is unlikely to be appropriate for damage caused when effecting entry if the search was lawful and the force used was reasonable, proportionate, and necessary to effect entry. In accordance to this, officers are not liable for any damage caused or any repairs that follow. However, in this instance, officers deny causing damage to your property and you are put to strict proof. Section 117 PACE also permits officers to use reasonable force when exercising their duty. In this instance, officers used reasonable force by climbing onto your wheelie bin and calling you through your window. These were necessary lines of inquiries. As such, your claim for compensation for the damage to your property and trespass is denied as the officer's attendance was lawful and the force used was minimal and necessary. To confirm, the defendant makes no offers for compensation in respect of your entire claim. If you are at all unsure of your legal position, you have the right to seek independent legal advice. Yours sincerely, Amir Yassin.
Knowing all these lies, we rang Amir Yassin. Let's see what he said.
Good afternoon, Amir Yassin speaking. How may I help?
Hi, Amir Yassin. It's
Hi, okay.
I'm good, thank you. I'm just going to let you know I've received your letter today.
Yep.
I've just got a few questions I hope you can help me with.
Yeah, no problem.
You refer to me sending several text messages that gave fear of violence to a lady. Is that your allegations or is that the police allegations?
Bear with me. Let me get your file up, sir.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so are they your allegations or are they the police's allegations?
This is the officer's versions of events, that of my inquiries.
Okay, so everything you said on there, you're saying that the police have said that?
In regards to what the background of the allegations, or
Yes, the whole lot. I'm just trying to figure out who I'm going to start legal action against for something else now, whether it's you or the police.
right? Okay. I mean, if you're seeking to issue proceedings, then the necessary person who you should put on the thing would be the East Midlands Police.
So you're confirming
my
that everything said on there was from the police and none of that's come from yourself. Is that
So what
what
happens is that the claim is investigated, the officers provide their version of events. As such, the letter would be drafted and the law would be sort of researched, and as such, your claim has been denied.
Yes, no, and I understand. And what I'm saying is, has that come from the police or has this come from you? Because the worrying thing is, the police have already said they had no recognition of him coming through my window, right? You're now saying he went through my window and shouted. So have you said that or are the police saying that? This is what I'm saying to you.
Oh, bear with me.
Yeah, do you understand? Because if these words have come from yourself as a defence, I'd like to know whether they're your words as a defence or it's the police that's saying it.
Yes, so your concern in relation to the call through the window, you're asking where that's come from.
Yeah, I'm saying...
Yeah, that's the officer's version of events, sir.
Ah, okay. So everything in there is officers' versions of events.
Yes.
And they've not really investigated. See, what you're saying is all you're doing is merely passing on what they've said to you, and you've not said anything in there that's your opinion.
So basically, the background is the version of events. As such, your claim part is my investigation into your claim.
Okay.
And then I basically research the law and apply that to the facts. And as such, the decision has been made that no offers of compensation is in respect of your claim.
No, I totally understand what you said. I was expecting this anyway, but...
Oh, fantastic.
I was expecting that anyway, you see, because I know exactly what you're saying, and the interview tape I've got in front of me just shows that you are, in my opinion, being dishonest. I'm not saying you personally, I'm saying the police, right? So this is where I'm going next with it. I'm just making sure there's no claims against you for your opinions, and you've just clarified that for me.
Yep, no problem, sir.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Take care.
As you have just heard from Amir Yassin. Amir Yassin didn't watch the video we sent with the letter before claim. If he did, he would have understood that the police are now lying on this point. Whether it's negligent or not, Amir Yassin is now knowingly lying for the police. This is solicitor misconduct. Amir Yassin is not only a trainee solicitor. He is also part of the police. His number is 17958. You could argue this sort of abuse is in fact conflict of interest. But either way, it's clearly just one abusing police staff member being passed on to another abusing police staff member. Let's just go back to our previous videos. The police officer in question is PC3625 Chris Phillips. We put complaints in about this officer and the police moved him to the dog yard, deeming this man a danger around humans. PC3625 Chris Phillips clearly stated, "Fresh start. It seems this police officer is still lying. It seems pathological liars don't know the meaning for fresh starts." Let's watch it.
I think for me, the skill set, a challenge, new start, different level of skills, it's quite fine.
Next step, we have to make sure we have tried to resolve this matter as much as we can before taking it to court. On the October 26, 21 we emailed Amir. "Dear Amir, is this your full and final decision on this matter? Is it your view that this was an indictable offense or is this the police's? On full confirmation we will start legal action."
On the October 27, 21 Amir responded, "Dear Sirs. Further to the below email, please note that the offense was an either-way offense. As such officer's attendance was lawful."
On the October 27, 21 we responded, "Dear Amir. Message from me is below. Summary below. You have confirmed that the police have acted lawfully and you wish no further communication with us. You therefore want us to start legal action. You have confirmed that the offense I was wanted for was harassment with fear of violence. We can confirm the police updated the system this way to complete their unlawful acts. We can confirm 1 day after this unlawful act, I was interviewed for harassment only. Harassment is a summary offense. You have confirmed the police's unlawful acts and have confirmed that the police have seriously breached the Data Protection Act to unlawfully perv on children. It is my view that you are covering this up with your negligence. Even if you still want to attempt to pursue the unfounded allegation of harassment with fear of violence, we have the interview tape confirming I was interviewed under harassment only. I also have the interview confirming that at the worst the police might have suspicion of one occasion only. Harassment with fear of violence states there must be at least 2 occasions. A person whose course of conduct causes another to fear, on at least 2 occasions, that violence will be used against him is guilty of an offense if he knows or ought to know that his course of conduct will cause the other so to fear on each of those occasions. I deny all allegations. With regards to the Data Protection Act, a claim is on its way for this. The police had no reasonable grounds to suspect any indictable offenses, and this is demonstrated in the interview tape that we have. The police could have had reasonable suspicion of alleged unwanted communication/harassment, but this was shown in interview that this wasn't the case, it was the woman playing games. Yet the police had confirmed in the interview that no matter how the interview went, they were going to give me harassment advice. This again was demonstrated in interview. Putting unlawful information on the police database to cover up crimes is deemed as perverting the course of justice. I could talk to you all day about every little thing, but the simple fact is no matter how much bullshit or lies you want to send me. The facts are I was interviewed under harassment only, which is a summary offense. Please do not insult my intelligence. When sending me or my team letters, please refrain from advising that I seek legal advice. It is yourself that needs this advice. If you require the interview tape, please let me know. I expect you will be wanting to change your answer to the previous letter. I will give you 7 days from today to do this. If you need longer, please let me know. Acknowledge and respond to this email straight away with your intent.
On the November 8, 21, Amir responded, "Dear Sirs. Further to the below email, the position on liability remains the same. The defendant's officers circulated your arrest for an offense of harassment with fear of violence. It is therefore submitted that the officers acted lawfully as aforementioned within our response letter. As such, your claim is denied."
There you go, nothing more we can do but take this legal. We also sent him the interview link. We also requested his professional body's details. Amir refused these and passed us a police email. What a load of rubbish. Due to the police's behavior, I felt scared for my life. In summary, the police surrounded my private property with unauthorized weapons and repeatedly banged on my doors and windows. The police were shaking the door handles on the attempt to damage my lock and enter my property. The police had no body cameras on. Nottinghamshire police shouldn't have been dealing with this incident. The police then attempted to enter my property through the window, which I believe was to either plant drugs in my property, sexually assault me, or attempt to murder me. The police have covered this up on the police database and have refused to identify all the police officers. This has left me scared for my life. After this date I had no choice but to protect myself from police perving on me and children in my house. I had no choice but to frost all my windows. I no longer have the right to look outside my windows. I also had to purchase additional burglar alarms to put on my downstairs doors and windows in the attempt to stop police abuse.